Hello, hello, hello. It is week 8 Fantasy Outlook. We have a huge double game week this week. Derek and my team are both, just going down red arrows week upon week. I'm not even going to talk about my team, but a quick recap of the Fan TV League. We got Cody Weber in first place. I think that's 3 weeks in a row for you, Cody. Congratulations, man. Steve B., you're in second place. Jose Holiday, third place. Chris Watson, fourth place. Chris Dustin, fifth place. And then we have a Chris Whalen breaking the top 10 for the first time all season. That, kind of puts me on alert. And then I'm in 16. Derek is in 18. Sean Gerd from City Soccer Talk 19. And let's everybody else, you should know where you are. I'm looking to see if Wes Kirk finally took a red arrow this week. I think he was about at 25 last week, and now he's about 36. So Derek will get you started. I know we got some big double game weeks. Derek, the floor is yours.
This might have honestly been the worst week I've had in 3 years of playing MLS Fantasy, and I've had some pretty bad weeks, but I only ended up with 40 points last week. Yeah, I took a wild card. Just like last year, I used my wild card on a double game week, and it really didn't work out well for me. I used my wild card here to prepare for this next double game week, and it just worked out terribly for me. Kaká didn't play. Chris Tierney left in the 20th minute or so. I captained Ignacio Piatti, who did nothing. Absolutely nothing. I think there's only 3 players of mine who got more than 4 points. Wondolowski, Feilhaber, and Lawrence Simon. But I just don't know what to say about this past week. Good news is last year I started off even worse than I am and still finished 25th. So, there's still time to pick it up, but I was very disappointed last week. And it wasn't just me. A lot of the people in Reddit, Fantasy MLS, and even the guys that do the podcast, they hated this week. And a lot of them had just unbelievably poor scores, like 40s, 50s. I think one of my buddies got like a 37. It's like I'm just not sure what to say about that. Honestly, a lot of us got screwed over with Kaká missing last week. If you had Chris Tierney, that screwed you over. If you didn't have Jovinko, sorry, but that's over. If we're moving on to the double game week, 6 double game week teams this week. Montreal, New England, New York City, Portland, Sporting Kansas City, and Vancouver. Your transfers will stop on the 27th, which is
tomorrow.
It's tomorrow. Wow, 26 already. Damn. It ends tomorrow at 7 p.m. when New York City's at home versus Montreal. Good news is there should be 4 lineups coming out before the transfers end, because New England and Portland are usually really good about getting their lineups out on time. So you'll have New York City, Montreal, New England, Portland lineups to look at before you make your transfers. And then the other 2 teams, Vancouver and SKC, they play that night.
Yep, 10:30 Eastern.
Yeah, so this double game week looked a lot better about 3 weeks ago than it does now. Honestly. As far as New England goes, yeah, you're missing Chris Tierney now. He was one of their maybe 3 legitimate fantasy options, because I don't like. You can take London Woodbury if you really want to, but why, honestly? Other than he's a budget defender. Lee Wynn just underproduces. If it wasn't for his penalty kick against us, he'd have 3 or 4 points in every game. It's not good for a guy with his price tag. At least Drogba's back, And his backup, Anthony Jackson Hamel, has already been ruled out for the New York City game, so that's good news for people who want to see Drogba play more than 40 minutes. Just like every double game week, you got to be aware of rotations. One player that comes to mind when I think of that is Fernando Adi, who only played 92 minutes last double game week. And some teams are definitely, more prone to rotations than others. Like I personally feel SKC is going to rotate. Montreal usually rotates a little. It's not that bad. Vancouver may, but a lot of these teams are just not in the position where they should rotate. They need to put out their best 11 out there because teams like SKC, they're struggling, but just beware of like depth in these teams and depth in certain positions. Like SKC has less depth on the wing backs than they do at forward. That's why Abdul Salam may be a better choice than Dom Dwyer, even though Dom's a way better player. Same thing in Portland with their forwards. They got Jack McInerney, Lucas Milano, Darian Asprilla. Just beware of Fernando Adi. Like I said, he played 92 minutes last double game week.
They got Maddox too.
Yeah, Darren Maddox. He left that second game, or Adi got the brace. He left that game with a head injury. Yeah. But usually Ignacio Piatti's not a 180-minute player. He's more like a 150-minute player. But it's Ignacio Piatti. You got to have him.
Is he your must-have for this week?
Yes. He's like one of 3 must-haves.
Okay. Well, we can do must-haves at the end. Let's get into defenders and goalkeepers.
Goalkeepers this week, I personally have Tim Melia. Mostly because I didn't transfer him out last week. He's probably your best option since he had a double game week in week 10 as well. I personally like Evan Bush this week too from Montreal. They're playing New York City and Colorado. Yeah. So yeah, that'll work out great. Bobby Shuttlesworth is a decent option. I like David Osted, but he's 6.1.
It's a little high.
Yeah, so if you already have him, you might as well keep him. 6.1 is a lot of coin to be spending on a goalkeeper, especially with options like Matt Lamson coming in at like 4.7, Tim Melia at 5.6. Melia's rotation risk is about 0. If he misses the game, it's because he got injured.
Or a red card.
Yeah, same thing with Evan Bush. And same thing with Bobby Shuttlesworth, really. These guys have like 0 rotation risk. Defenders from Montreal, just beware that Donny Toya and Hassoun Camara have also both been rolled out for Wednesday. So if I'm picking Montreal defenders, I'm staying with Laurent Simon and Victor Cabrera. Both of them are just good options this week. New England, you could probably go with like a London Woodbury and just feel fine about that. New York City, hear me out on this one. I actually do own a New York City defender this week. Ronald Matarrita is one of my top defender options this week. Why? He averages about 7 points per game at home. Guess where they play twice this week?
Home.
I love that option this week. I love him. And it's not like he's going to get rotated. It's not like New York has any better defenders on the bench. They're all shit. Portland, they have not been the same defensively without Liam Ridgewell. Note Liam Ridgewell may be in the 18 this week. Just beware of that. I like their defenders a lot better when they have Borchard and Ridgewell together. If not, you can avoid that. And they also don't have Adam Quaresay, so you can avoid their goalkeeper too. SKC, just beware of rotation risk now that they have 3 healthy center backs. I really don't think there would be a rotation risk for any of them because they were mentioned about Nuno Coelho playing a defensive midfielder instead. Who's their defensive midfielder? Either way, I think all 3 of those guys are good options. So, same thing with Abdul Salam. I like him better than Dia because Abdul Salam gets in the attack more. And Vancouver, if you really, really, really want to be sneaky, you can go with Fraser Aird. 6.5 will get you somewhere around 3-4 points a game. Same thing with Tim Parker. I just like Aird a little better. His floor is a little higher. There's actually a lot of people overreacting to one good game for Jordan Harvey. Yeah. He's already had like 300 transfers in this week. Yeah, he had 15 points last week. I mean, he has 44 points. He's played, I think it was like 7 or 8 games, however many Vancouver's played. But 24 of those points have come in 2 games. If you look at the rest of his games, it's like ones, threes, threes. It's like, I don't want that.
I mean, he scored a goal last week. He's not going to score every week. That's for sure.
It's a lot of people are just completely overreacting to one good game for Jordan Harvey.
He's got 1, 2, 3 games over 6 points. Week 1, week 4, and week 7.
Yeah, I mean, just look at this. It's like, what the hell is going on here? Look at the rest of his numbers. You're going to expect more ones and twos and threes than you are these sevens and nines. And they play Sporting Kansas City and New York City. So let's. He has 737 transfers in this week so far, which is by far and away more than anyone else. I don't understand it. Fraser Aird, on the other hand, only has 300, and he's only had one game below 2 points. And in that game, he only played 45 minutes. So I like Fraser Aird as that sneaky pick this week. 6.5. So midfield options.
Yep, midfielder. Go ahead.
I don't know what to say. You got to have Piatti and Feilhaber, definitely. Those are your 2 must-have midfielders. The rest of them, I just don't see much appeal. Like New York City, I mean, someone's probably going to go out and get Diskerud and Tommy McNamara, and you're going to see him on like the high scores of Fantasy MLS this week. And I'm going to be like, why? You just screwed yourself the next 6 weeks if you didn't use your wild card, because that's. I don't like their midfield. Montreal, Harry Ship's okay if you really, really want him, but Piatti's the main guy there. New England, Lee Wynn's underperforming. The rest of them are Portland. I like Diego Chara somewhat, but my thing with players like him and Ozzy Lazo falls in the same boat. Their floor and their ceiling are really close together, and I don't really like that. I mean, yeah, it's like a consistent 3-4 points a game, but you're not going to get much more than that.
And Valeri suspended the first game.
Yeah, but I still know a lot of people that are actually considering adding him back because of his bonus points this year.
I held on to him.
And with one game of Diego Valeri might actually be a lot better than 2 games with a lot of these other midfielders. So I definitely see where these people are going with that. And I'm actually considering that pick too because I freaking love Diego Valeri. He is a must own when he's not getting suspended for bullshit yellows. So, Kansas City, their midfield is probably their highest rotation risk, but I don't know how you can't go without Benny Feilhaber. Even at a.
Oh, we lost your video. There we go.
Yeah, my battery's going down. That was my fault. But
Uh-oh.
135 minutes of Benny Feilhaber is good with me, honestly. I mean, he's pretty much the only one I like there. Graham Zusi fits in the Lee Win mold, like way too expensive for what they're producing. And just about anyone else may get rotated. Vancouver, someone's, just like I said about New York, someone's going to go out there and get like Kakuta Mane and Christian Teixeira and Matias Laba and be on the top scorers of Fantasy MLS. And that's just going to piss me off. I don't like any of those guys. And Pedro Morales may be back, but he's had so many lucky PKs. It's not even funny. So, forward options now.
Yeah, well, you want to give maybe a budget midfielder option because everybody you talked about was pretty expensive.
Harry Ship, maybe Roger Espinoza for Kansas City. Scott Caldwell for New England's not that expensive. And then you got Diego Chara. So there's 4, but
okay.
I just don't like DGW midfielders this week.
All right. Forwards.
Drogba is your best option. Legit. Then you got, the Don Dwaras and the Fernando Adis who are lower priced but still producing really, really well.
Villa coming off 2 goals.
Yeah, and we all know how these guys can produce. David Villa, I just don't know. New York looks so bad. I don't want to get stuck with him. but then he's probably going to score 4 goals this week.
I mean, both games at home, and they got a double game week in 3 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, I said I didn't like Jovinko's matchup last week, and he scores 2 goals. So I'm honestly not sure what to think about that week. I'm not going to say no, but if he doesn't do well, I'm going to say I told you so. Because New York looks like garbage. I mean, Patrick Vieira's only made 7 games, and he's already arguing with MLS reporters. And then Vancouver, you can just skip their forwards. They suck. Same thing for New England. They suck.
And what about a forward pick for the upcoming weeks if you're, can't afford some of these high-priced players?
I like Dominic Aduro as your budget option.
Montreal 7.4.
Lucas Milano is a little lower price for Portland.
Okay.
And I'm not sure about anyone else. So that's probably about it.
All right. Well, that you covered everything then. So who are you? You said there was 3 must-have players this weekend. Who are they for you?
Well, I mean, goalkeepers, you can go with any combination of like 4 different players. So I don't have an obvious must-have there. My must-have defenders this week are Laurent Simon, Montreal. I don't think he scored any less than 5 points in any game this year.
He's expensive.
He is expensive, but he is producing.
Simon, he has. I'm looking up. You can keep going.
Yeah, so I mean, he's had.
He has 4 week 1, 10 week 2, 6, 4, 8, 6, 5. So he probably averages about 6 points a game.
Yeah, which is good for a defender. I don't mind that. Ronald Matarrito is my other must-have, and he was the guy I targeted because I know he does well at home. He had 6 bonus points in that game we played up there against New York earlier this year. 6. Yeah, no, hell yeah, I'll take that. And he has 2 games at home. Yeah, give me that. Benny Feilhaber, Ignacio Piatti must-owns this week. And for forwards, I mean, if you had to have a must-own, it's probably Drogba, just because he's Drogba. But,
All right.
Dwyer has a double game week in 10 again. So.
And what about who are you going to captain? Or what are your captain options? I know you might not want to tell us who you're going to captain because I know you're really competitive.
Piatti and Feilhaber are always captain options. If you have Jovinko, even in a single game week, he's always a captain option. It's like, oh, I don't know who the captain. Jovinko, go ahead. I don't. Whatever. It's Jovinko. Drogba, if you really want to take a risk, and like the really cheeky Nando's type of captain pick is I've considered Laurent Simon this week. I mean,
Captain Melia.
Yeah, that could either go one of 2 ways with Simon. He could get 2 clean sheets, and that can work out great, or you can get a red card in the 15th minute of the first game, and that can just work out terribly. So, that's why you don't captain defenders.
All right. And what about your boy Schoberg? Was injured last week but played 5 points. What's up with that?
About that, Mark Birch was actually injured in pregame warmups. That's why Hoberg played. Just be aware of the injury report. We all know it's a bitch. I mean, Kaká got announced out during the Pride game, which was after the deadline.
End of the Pride game.
So, that's why you usually got to have an auto sub because MLS is just so freaking terrible with these injury reports.
All right. Well, is that all you got?
Yeah, that's pretty much all I got this week. Good luck this week. Just knowing you're making your transfers, prepare for the double game week. Week 10 double game week. I know I didn't discuss much single game week options. I'll tweet those out later.
Okay. Well, you got a couple offhand you just want to throw out for the end?
Lamar Nagel, Sebastian Jovinko. I like Alex from Houston. He's got a double game week 10. Those are just a few single game week options. I'll tweet them out later. More of them.
All right. Well, that's all. All right. Well, thank you, Derek. That's all for our time, and we thank you for your time. Peace out.